Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. Welcome to yet another edition of International Forum. I am Wilson Omasha. Well, today is all about U.S. politics, and this time around it's getting a little bit interesting. Why is it so? A frontliner in the Republican Party, they choose to step down for Donald Trump. People are talking about the implication. Does that mean that Donald Trump is a force to reckon with in the party? What were the factors considered by Desantis for him to step down for Donald Trump? We'll take a look at this in course of our discussion. Well, right now I want to go through some stories that made round globally. It's all about Yemen strike, where US and UK forces came together to tell the Houthi rebels on the river that enough is enough. We call them Houthi pirates, the one that was there disturbing ships of America and, of course, Britain for passing through the Red Sea just to go out there to, deliver cargoes. Yes, it's been this force, this synergy between the US and the UK as they launch fresh attack on Houthis in Yemen. Don't forget that Yemen has been appointed as one of the axes of evil, one of the axes also that is really getting so many people worried, because they're saying Yemen, that's the base, so to speak, of this terrorist training point. They get to that place, they train, and from there they launch attack. And they were so emboldened to attack a vessel that has connection with the UK and, of course, with the US. Right now, the Joint Strike Team, they've come together and they are giving the Houthis fire for fire. Rockets, jets, helicopter, protecting vessels along the sea just for them to have peace in that particular strait. How long will the strike last? We do not know. Maybe just be a crusade of eradicating the impact of Houthi rebels, from that particular strait, so that ships can just go out there to present cargoes and all that. Going straight down to what is happening in Russia, where the wives of Russian military men, they came out in large numbers saying, Putin, we know you're fighting war against Ukraine, but our husbands have not been with us for quite a long time. We want our husbands back. Russian wives, they're the ones saying this, and they are backing it up with facts, saying that their husband have been to the house since this war started. I just want the people to bring up that video of Russian wives protesting, crying to the world that they've not seen their husband for quite a while now. Yeah, Russia-Ukraine war, Russian soldiers' wife want their men back. They've been it for so long, they just can't take it anymore. Where is our husband? Now that is the rhetorics in the mouth of so many Russian wives. Some of them, according to reports, might have been killed because of the exchange of fire. Some of them, according to report, choose to abandon their duty posts. Why some, lots of them, they are still loyal to the cause in doing something drastic to make sure that Russia comes out top in the war against Ukraine. Don't forget about the bomb blast in the market in Donetsk. Yes, a Russian-held region of Donetsk, where close to 10 persons lost their lives. But this time around, the wives of these Russian military men, they just cannot take it anymore. To them, the war is senseless. At least let them see their husband for a while before they can go back there to continue with the war if they want to continue, or better still resign to their homes, because the family right now, they are really missing them. Now, what do you think about that? What do you feel about that? Because right now, it is all about what is happening between Russia and, of course, Ukraine. Moving on to Australia, where a top politician chooses to resign from politics in Australia. He's saying that it's high time he fits his family. Yeah, because from what he said, also, if you do politics for a while, talking about Scott Morrison, he said sometimes it's good for you to call it quick, to let the younger generation take over. He's been so influential even in politics. He's been so influential also when he was the Prime Minister of Australia, and many persons felt the impact of Scott Morrison, but he's saying it's time for him to throw in the towel because something else is calling his attention. He needs to focus on his family. He needs to focus on his health. But when he's called upon to contribute one or two things for Australia development, definitely he will come up to give his advice. But to be actively involved in politics, he said no. Age, energy, interest right now is no longer there, so to speak. So for that reason, he chose to say, well, it's high time he said goodbye to politicking. He's been through a lot, following Australian political trend, ups and down, the fire, the flood, COVID-19, you just name it. Scott Morrison has been a formidable politician in Australian space, but it's high time he called it quit because of something else is calling him. He said, look, enough of all this argument, enough of giving your time solely to the government of the day. It is our time. I look into my family, take care of them, take care of myself, and watch on the sideline, let others carry this responsibility of governing Australia. Right now, I want to go for a break. When we return, we'll take a look at what is happening right now in the U.S. political space. Why Desantis chose to step down for Donald Trump? Will Donald Trump eventually become the flag bearer of the Republicans in the U.S.? All these and more we'll take a look at shortly. Don't go away. Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's now time for us to talk about what is happening in the U.S. because the presidential election is fast approaching and we have great contenders. On one hand, we have the seventh president, Joe Biden, and he's saying he's going to vie for the election to retain his position for at least his second term. We have from our U.S. president, also Donald Trump, who's been battered by lots and lots of litigations to the extent that they said even if he's arrested, he's still going to contest. And right now, the first debate in Iowa, he came out top, leading the poll by 51%, followed by Desantis and, of course, Nikki. All of a sudden, yesterday, we got to hear, or last say some days ago, we got to hear, yes, Sunday precisely, we got to hear that Desantis stepped down for Donald Trump. He said because he saw the reaction, what the polls were saying, that was the reason why he chose to step down. Now, what do you have to say about that? Well, is there on the studio to be able to throw more light on it? I have a legal practitioner, political affairs commentator, join me to welcome Barrister Henry Walzer. Welcome to International Forum. And of course, a Happy New Year to you.
Yes, viewers at home, good afternoon. And just as Wilson said, Happy New Year.
All right, all right. And of course, he is an entrepreneur, an astute politician. When he start calculating politics, I'll be like, calm down, okay. A youth mobilizer. Join me to welcome Honorable Etiosa Igebo.
Thank you very much.
I will still say it, a.k.a. Sonny. Welcome.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Whatever, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, whatever. Happy New Year to you. This is like the first time we've been together on set on International Forum this year. Our glory to God for that. All right. Right now, it's like America is at a turning point because of the caliber of men that choose to throw themselves in to serve the American people. Amongst those, Donald Trump, despite the fact of what he's been going through, he's been battered, he's been dragged, but still he remained resolute, he remained standing, and he went for the first round of debate and, of course, primaries. He came out top. So all of a sudden, on Sunday precisely, Desantis, the one that came out second in Iowa, chose to throw in the towel to back Donald Trump. Barrister, you're a legal practitioner. What in the world do you think is happening?
Well, you see, one thing I admire with the Americans is that their politics is usually very interesting. You are not talking about individuals per se, as it were, but you look at an institution that has been there solidly and moving on. You have the Democrats, you have the Republicans. Each of these parties, as it were, ensures that they're able to bring in somebody who has the capacity, somebody who has the courage, and somebody who has that which it takes to lead the Americans and lead them to a glorious morn. You will find out that Donald Trump, notwithstanding the challenges he has passed through this period, but the man has remained steadfast. He has been a true Republican. He has been a man who knew where he's coming from and where he's going to. And you find out that politics in that part of the world is not the type of politics you play in this part of the world. Here, you are, the major issues, you look at the economy of the Americans. You look at the issue of abortion. You also look at the issue that borders on the other areas that centers on how a single American can benefit from the government, as it were. So it is an interesting thing. Ron Santos decided to back out. You look at the quote he made. He said he's trying to, in a situation, he has seen a clear path of victory, because there must be a clear path of victory that I am going to win. But if you discover, because of recent this has not worked out well for him, accepted the one by landslide as the governor of Florida. But that is not enough. Of recent, his popularity is going on. Age equally has nothing to do with it. He's a 45-year-old man, while Donald Trump is over 70, as it were. But he has seen that Donald Trump is more prepared, Donald Trump has the capacity, Donald Trump has the courage, and Donald Trump has all it takes to meet that needs of the Americans, as it were. And that is why the young man decided to say, oh, I'm throwing the towel to support him as well. Remember that they equally have not been good to him, because Donald Trump has always called him, he referred to him as being disloyal member of the Republican. And sometimes he calls him names, as it were. But that has not changed that belief that Donald Trump has a well-packaged arrangement, as it were, for the Republican Party, as it were.
All right. I will come back to you. As a politician, Honorable, what do you think went through the mind of Don Santis for him to say, look, Donald Trump, I'm stepping down because of you?
Practical facts. You know, politics is very practical. Outside critical thinking and the theoretical application into a political system. The end product, they say the end justifies the means. It's always how does the people feel about it. The polls in America, the polls in the Western countries are usually very close to the reality of how the general public is thinking about a candidacy. So Desantis might be currently governor and a member of Republicans, irrespective of, like my brother said, the comments that have been used in terms of the political foul play, we call it. There are ways you say certain things to get feedbacks. It wasn't never personal. The interest of America comes first. And I'm very certain that for Donald Trump to have an upper hand in that particular polls that they conducted is not connected with the fact that there are several unnecessary or maybe unwelcomed conflicts that have been brought into the table by the current administration of Joe Biden. I'm sure several have made mentions of the fact that for the Americans to want to survive the different economic challenges as well as the virus issues, and then the country is recovering while Donald Trump was in power, and some people argue that Donald Trump is not very nice to certain other ethnic groups and stuff on it. But I remind them that there are also people of color as a Republican, so that can always be subject for another day. I'm very certain that the people who are working with Donald Trump and the Republicans who once voted against him when he lost to Joe Biden because of some of the utterances and things he said, are also building back confident that he might be able to adjust his little deficiency in character and embrace the bigger picture of him being, seen to be acceptable by the general public within the Republican Party. However, my own take is that I do have a strong feeling that this current government and administration under Joe Biden may not survive the test of time. The reason why I'm saying this is because they've engaged in a political witch hunt on black men to come up with so many court cases against Donald Trump on what they think he may have done, that is necessarily not right, that is costing so many Americans pains today, because they on one side are going to different wars, supporting wars in different regions, spending loads of American taxpayers' money on it. At the same time, Donald Trump, when he was in power, actually stopped several wars, even pulled out the American troops from Afghanistan. So it's like, they don't want to live like a grasshopper, thinking that it's greener on the other side. I remember saying on the studio some time ago that by the time these issues of conflicts across the world keep going because of the very harsh American foreign policies, when President Obama was there, you saw that there were lots of wars. It started when Donald Trump came on board. He met with the North Korean president for the first time, whether it is for positive or negative reasons, but you can actually see him dialoguing with this villain in quote. And the only way to success and economic growth is to have a table where you can sit down and discuss as a nation. But then again, with Joe Biden coming on board, all this whole thing has been turned the other way around, and certain people and elements are making money from the conflicts, while the Americans are just paying out of their nose, and at the same time, it's like there's no end to the conflict. So I think that is why Donald Trump might give him a good run for his money.
If you take a look at Ron Desantis, the man we're talking about today, Ron Desantis, you get to realize that at first he was so confident about him becoming the flag bearer of the Republican. Because of what he's been doing as a governor, he has his clear records. Because of what he's been doing also, because age, according to reports, favors him, is just 45 years of age and trying to get to that particular position. Now, if you take a look at him stepping down, some are saying that he is a chicken, he is a coward for stepping down. Do you share those views about Ron DeSantis?
One thing you must understand, that politics in that part of the world is not looked at from the angle every other person will see it. You look at the statement he made. What was his statement? First of all, he looked at the Republicans. How many persons are supporting his bid to become the president, their flag bearer? That is an issue. He discovered of recent his popularity deflated steadily, and this has affected him. And a man who knows where he's coming from, he has read the handwriting very clear on the wall. That is why he decided that, I don't have support as I needed. After the primary at Iowa, and the one of New Hemisphere taking place today precisely, as it were, he has looked at it that I don't have a chance with this man. My opponent has an upper hand because of his character. Accepted that Donald Trump has that issue of discipline in terms of how he handles. But the Americans sees him from another point of view. That is the man that has the courage, the man that has what it takes to actually get things done the way they wanted it. And that is why he has that support, as it were, from the Republicans. And that is why, notwithstanding all the challenges the man has passed through, the man still remains strong. Because there are certain persons, with what the government is doing to you, today you are in court, tomorrow you are out of court. Some persons will chicken out. But the man, notwithstanding that, has remained. And the man has challenged every court action. The man has made sure that he always come out of it, notwithstanding what has been done to put him back. So, Ron Sands has looked at the popularity of the man. Ron Sands has looked at the capacity of the man. He also looked at the fact that the man has the courage and he has all what it takes to actually be a better candidate than himself when it comes to the fighting the Democrats. And that is why the young man felt that, at this point in time, I have to throw in the towel and support a stronger candidate that is well prepared. Because when you are looking at the issue of leading a nation, it's not just somebody waking up from somewhere and say, come and become a president. This is a man who has been there before now. This is a man who has shown the capacity that he is prepared to lead his people. And not only leading his people, ensuring that the economy is better, ensuring that the welfare of the people is equally taken care of. And all that it takes for an American to say that I'm a proud American, anytime, any day, wherever he or she finds himself, Donald Trump has all that it takes to do that.
All right. Now, there is a woman, Nikki, that chooses not to back down. So I'm saying this is a kind of guts required from any aspirant want to be a flag bearer of the Republican. Now, do you mean that Nikki is miscalculating the handwriting or the signs of the war to let her know that somehow, somewhere, Donald Trump cannot be defeated?
No, certainly. With politics, you can always assume and plan, believing that whatever that you're doing will bring out a positive outcome at the end of the day. It is a game that's like football. It is not over until it's all over. Because you just need to make one silly mistake and the swing vote goes the other direction. So when it comes to the issue of popularity, I'm sure before now, Donald Trump was not as popular as it might be now, that encouraged Desantis to step down. But if the other lady, who is also a contestant, has a triumph card, a political triumph card, that she thinks she might deploy within a few weeks or a period of time towards more further decisions to be made within the Republican Party, nobody knows that. That is why it's more like a cat and a mouse chase. It's a tit-for-tat sort of game, and things can change very quickly when it comes to politics. So for her not stepping down doesn't make her a superhero. Maybe the guy that stepped down, Desantis, might have a better information. Yeah. Maybe she on her own, being a woman, knowing fully well that not very many women participate in politics, may also be pushing and encouraging her to believe that she might get the sympathy to do the job. But then again, that is something that is under probability, that you and I cannot just sit here and assume that this is probably why she's doing this or doing that. Maybe her intentions is to contest the election till the end, so that she can also gain the experience of having been in such kind of like her programs before. Then that will help her prepare better the next time. Desantis is the current governor, right?
Yeah.
So, but the lady may not be holding, she might be just be a member House of Representative or a senator, but at the end of the day, the gender thing may be playing out, and she probably just very believe that she can become the next president. If Hillary Clinton has tried severally and she was never president, I'm very certain that maybe that's what is pushing her.
All right now I want to go for a break. When we return, we'll take a look at what is really making Donald Trump to have this popularity, and what do you think will be the impact in the overall election and even in the political party, talking about the Republican Party of the United States of America. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is the International Forum. We're taking a look at Ron DeSantis stepping down for Donald Trump, the implication in the U.S. politics. Now, he said the reason why Nikki Haley may choose to stay strong to the end of this gender thing, or maybe she doesn't really have the information DeSantis is running with. But some are saying this is a woman standing strong till the end. Do you see a shift, so to speak, in primary delegates coming out to vote for her instead of Donald Trump because of her uncanny courage?
One thing you must understand with politics is that the issue of sentiment at its well is not common in that part of the world where you begin to look at it from that angle. She stands a chance, as it were. But again, the man at the center of the drama, it's a man that has seen it all. It's a man that has the courage. It's a man that has the capacity. It's a man that can stand bidding, as it were, when it comes to the election. So the Republicans are looking for a candidate that can match the Democrats. They are not looking for a candidate that will just be there because, we want to present a candidate. They are not doing that, as it were. Donald Trump is a candidate that they can sell. It's a candidate that the people, the Americans, because bear one thing in mind, that at the point he had this challenge, people come out to demonstrate. People come out to support him. If he's going for all the issues that he had, there are people there trying to be part of him. Show solidarity, as it were. That is to tell you that, notwithstanding the man's shortcomings in terms of discipline, as it were, but the man has all that it takes. Because the Americans are looking at the character of the man leading them. Is it a man that will change their position to change their destiny? Is it a man that will lead them to the Eldorado they are talking about? Is it a man that when it matters most, the man will be able to stand between them and the gap? So Donald Trump, from the little I have seen and have known, I've read about him, the man has all this capacity. That is why, notwithstanding the challenges, the man has remained rooted. The man has remained steadfast. The man has continued to push forward that I want to lead my people again. I have that capacity to lead my people again. And the party itself has looked at the candidates they have. That is why when Rosoto said that the party, that is the members of the Republican, he was able to find out from there that, you know, they tend to tilt towards Donald Trump. That is why his popularity, accepted he's a popular candidate, but he does not have that which they see in Donald Trump, which they believe that Donald Trump has enough to lead them, as it were. So generally, Nikki Haley, Haley on her own part, she is a good candidate because she has been there in the politics, as it were. But the truth still remains that the Americans, I know, would prefer a man who they have known, a man who has the capacity, a man who can do the needful when it becomes important. Politically, Donald Trump has done well for himself and for the Republicans. He has brought change, because these are the things the party is looking at. He has brought change. The popularity is there. Because those are the things we put into consideration. Is the candidate we are bringing, is it a popular candidate? Is it a candidate that has been tested before now? Is it a candidate that has all it takes to ensure that the party wins? And that is what the Republicans are looking for.
All right. Now, what do you think is the driving force behind Donald Trump? Take a look at Ron Desantis, no blemish. The governor of Florida, if you take a look at Florida's GDP, they are doing so well. He has all it takes to, you know, lead Republicans into battle, so to speak, in course of the election, but they choose to back down. What is so special about that man, Trump?
Well, I think his experience, being a president of, governor of a state, and with his age, in a system that age doesn't really matter. Obviously, the comparative advantage lies with Donald Trump. He was already a president of the country before, and when he was there, they realized that he was able to interface and negotiate with other countries that have different foreign policies, like Russia, North Korea, and whatnot. They understand that he wanted to pull out the American troops from these countries with regards what the warmongers are doing and selling arms for people to self-destruct and make profit from it. They've seen Donald Trump to be strongly anti-capitalism in a certain way when it comes to war and conflicts management across the world. So I'm sure when Donald Trump was president, the Americans saw it firsthand, how it interfaces with the Israelis. At some point, he used very harsh languages to the president of Israel, prime minister. At another point, he was willing to get them to sit down and negotiate, which means he's not a one-sided kind of guy. Donald Trump is very controversial. He's a man that is bold at saying things that he wants to say, but most of the time, sometimes he gets into trouble. But then again, they can sit back and say, well, he was anti-immigrants. But then that is something he can fix. If he has 10 points and he has 2 faults, it is best to go with the devil you know than the angel you don't know. Whereby the man.
But in this case, they are saying that he has 10 faults and 2 points.
No, that's not the case.
Lots and lots of complaints about this man, Donald Trump. Lots of litigation, but still, he's still pressing on.
Let me tell you, they understand Donald Trump is already getting the sympathy. I remember some time ago, I repeated that word here on the studio, that the point will come with the way they are winch-hunting Donald Trump with these court cases, things that has existed. They remember is a brand. Is a man that runs a hospitality business and all forms of different businesses as a businessman. He was a successful businessman before he became the American president. So either way, they understand that he has contributed to the growth of the American economy. However, if you are now telling us that Donald Trump, the only thing about Donald Trump is the fact that he's done wrong things to create riots, for instance, or maybe it's anti-Semitic, it speaks badly of colored people of different ethnic backgrounds, where you find black and Hispanic and Asians within his party, because Desantis is of a Puerto Rican background. Yeah. He's not even a pure American. To an extent, he's an American, but he's obviously a man with a mixed race background. And that argument can be watered down. To a very large extent, Donald Trump has been president before. The Americans have seen it firsthand that he was able to do a lot of things that helps to revive the American economy from the issue of COVID-19. These are the things that Americans want. Even if Americans want to show their dominance in the other parts of the world, but it cannot always be at the expense of the American taxpayers. So they understand that Donald Trump is very anti-conservative foreign policy. They believe if he's president today, he will be able to negotiate and stop some of these wars whereby American money is not spent there. So at the end of the day, I think these are the advantages that he has. And obviously, if he goes back there, he's only going to do one tenor, rather than doing two tenors if Desantis was to come on board.
All right. Now,
so I think these are some of the areas.
We are coming to the 2 points. You talked about sympathy. So that might just be what is working for him. Sympathy because of what he has been through, because of what the government of Joe Biden, so to speak right now in quote, has made him pass through. The countless accusations leveled against him. Do you think that is becoming his strength because of sympathy?
Exactly. It plays a role, you know. Generally in the life of man, sometimes when you face challenges, what matters most is not falling, but your ability to stand at each point in time you fall. The man has remained standing, notwithstanding the several times he has fallen. Well, I mean falling in the sense that the accusations, which they have leveled against him, and he has been able to manage them, and he has come out, you know, without being hurt as well. So it has played a role in a, you know, kind of increasing his popularity, because every day, just like every day is like the whoever what is it called, tortoise. It's every day in the news. Every day in America they hear one thing about Donald Trump, and somehow people will now begin to see it from the angle that it is not only that the man has actually committed the offenses as it were that are alleged against him, but sometimes you also discover that all these things are just meant to witch hunt him. People will now begin to have that sympathy for him, and that is what he's playing at now, as it were. That is where he's now getting that popularity. People begin to see that not all that they have accused him of, you know, committing, actually, you know, that the government on its own is doing everything possible to make sure that he does not, you know, have the opportunity of coming back, because the Democrats know quite very well that he is the strongest candidate that is coming out of the Republican. It will be, if any other candidate today emerges as the flag bearer for the Republican, it will be a walkover for Joe Biden, as it were. But with Donald Trump and the level of followership he has got all these years, both within the America and outside, they see him as a candidate that need not to come. And that is why they have been doing all they have been doing to ensure that he does not emerge, you know, have the opportunity, because the courts, they are using the court. Because if the court pronounces no, because of you try to, you know, cause a problem in the country, automatically you will not have the opportunity of coming back to the same country to become the president. If the court makes a pronouncement on all those issues that they raised against him, automatically it will kill his political career. But so far so good, the court, though they will make you know, a pronouncement, another state court will equally make another pronouncement, yes. And this has worked out for him, some against him, some in his favor, and this has continued.
Because they're saying that he is one of the American ex-presidents that have been dragged in the mud more than any other ex-president.
So, but it has assisted, it has helped him, it has grown his popularity, and this is what he's working on.
All right. Now, some of the people that he cut a deal with Ron Desantis. You mentioned about cutting a deal, that maybe after this first tenure is going for just a single term, he might just give Ron DeSantis maximum support to become the next president after him. Do you see that possibility, or can you just fathom that actually there might just be a deal between him and Ron DeSantis?
Yeah, it's politics. All cards on the table. There's no doubt that maybe he has struck a deal with DeSantis. He has age on his side. He's just 45. By the time Donald Trump, if he wins his second tenure and he runs up, I think DeSantis will probably be around 49.
Yeah.
He's still very young to be president of America. he would have gathered a lot of experience at the time, more experience. If
And
you like.
money.
And, well, I don't know. I mean, I know in America.
He's a governor, and he has business chains.
In the American states, money plays a lot of role politically, but not in the way it works in Africa.
Nigeria, yeah.
Whereby you buy votes. In the States and in the Western world, you don't buy votes. Remember, there was a time, I think the biggest part, like what you just said now, part of the biggest aspect that I felt has hurt Donald Trump is the fact that all of a sudden they had multiple court cases on him. At the time, Twitter took him out of the Twitter page.
Yeah.
You know, they did all kind of things to him. Even if he was a villain, he was not seen to be haunted. And a lot of the things that he's speaking against is what ordinary Americans are speaking against. And at the same time, the 1% neocons who are making decisions for the American people, whereby sometimes if you're in the States, you see Americans revolting and doing protests and whatnot that is not put on any of this network or cable news like CNN and the rest, who has found a place to bash and keep bashing Donald Trump every day. It is already saying that, you know, when Donald Trump talks about deep states America and how the small niche of people is making bad decisions for the American state and the people, how things are so difficult and more people out of jobs, things like that, what regular nice Americans want to hear. There's no doubt that if Donald Trump gets this ticket from the way he's going, I can assure you without even mincing word that he's going to defeat Joe Biden.
Well, anyway, you are not a part of the citizens. They are saying that what Donald Trump did at the Capitol may just work against him.
Tell you,
that if others will fail or should fail, that accusation against him will not fail.
A lot of the things that they talk about when it comes to encouraging people to riot, it's not the first time those such things has happened in America. I'm sure before now, people who was holding political office would have created those sort of problems. But then again, I am not saying what happened in Capitol Hill was good. But people who were there were adults. They can make decisions of their own. Whatever Donald Trump tells them in such an exposed country would not necessarily lead to them acting the way they did. There may just be people who were passionate about the party and a few hooligans are there to create problems. And at the end of the day, Donald Trump was not seen on the street like a millionaire man march, asking people to destroy and create arson. So it is very difficult to pin him on that. That is why when he spoke about the court case and the courts playing their role, it's almost like there's pressure from the White House. The way it looks, I'm not saying that is the way what it is, to find a way to indict him, to stop him from contesting.
But that's saying it's the American system, not the White House, not Joe Biden.
If you know, yes, the American system is the White House. The American system is Capitol Hill. The American system is the American government. Point blank, period. That's not something you argue or you discuss. So if the Americans are giving the Americans some kind of idea to believe that the only way we can stop Donald Trump is to bring several court cases against him. Now Donald Trump made a mistake when Biden came on board. I believe if they are left in the way he was and just constantly speak about the things he did that was not right, and some of the things he spoke about, calling foreigners aliens, for instance, which brought him down in that election while Biden won, I'm sure the U.S. current president will have an upper hand. But as it is now, to leave all that areas of interest of why they disliked Donald Trump and he lost in that election, because the black community in America came together and voted massively against Donald Trump. But now, what they see today has not reflected the change that they desire. So if they can go back to work with Trump, it's a possibility. And to cement and give it a final kind of enrollment of order for that kind of thinking is the behavioral pattern of the American government towards Trump.
All right, I will come back to you now. Some are saying that the reason why these things like just walking out, this is to speak to Donald Trump, is because of his popularity. Because if you take a look at American society, according to report, the economy is doing well. That should have been a plus for Joe Biden. But it isn't a plus because according to reports, his popularity dwindled. It went down. So, I mean, if that really is the case, do you think that Americans are making the right choice for projecting Donald Trump, even over Joe Biden, despite all he did in the Capitol riot?
You see, just as my brother here has rightly said, those who came for the Capitol riot were not children. They were adults. And
But they said his words moved them to take action.
No, his words accepted that his words moved them to take action. The question there is, was he at that point? Was he part of them? Or was just the statement he made at the point he made the statement that made them to take the action which they did? Well and good, for every man has his reason for taking up whatever action he has done. He has denied that he was not the one who actually led them to that riot, as it were. But well, for the fact that he had made a comment, and that comment he made, has it changed all those issues he raised at that point in time? Has it changed today in America, as it were? That is another issue for discussion. So if a man has raised some issues and those issues has not changed to today, can you continue to ensure that the man faces trial continually over that same problem when you have not brought a solution to it? You find out that in that part of the world, quite unlike what we find here, just as my brother here said, it is not, the politics there is, we are looking at ideology. You are looking at, they look at your capacity. They look at the party you are coming from. The party you are coming from must have a manifesto that will bring about change for the people. The people, after looking at the manifesto of the party, they look at the character of the individual.
But what change are they looking for?
No, there are a lot of changes.
Because if you go by character, from what they're saying, Donald Trump doesn't have it from what Republicans are saying.
No.
And from many Americans say, this guy is a man of no character, without character.
Yes.
He still come to his head. He acts where he wants to act, unbefitting of a president.
Yes.
When he was a president then.
Yes, but you also find out that notwithstanding, it has not changed his foreign policies, as it were. He was able to bridge the gap, both with the issues in the Middle East, with North Korea and others. All these activities that he has taken out in America, he didn't, all these foreign policy, it never affected it, as it were. He was able to play his role. So, when we look at the individual, one we equally look at the party itself, because people are looking at the party and then looking at the individual who is coming out of the party. Does the individual have the capacity? Does the individual have the courage? Because there are certain things you need to do as a president. You must have somebody who have that wherewithal to do that. And they see Donald Trump as a candidate that will, because of his doggedity, because of his ruggedness, all these are counting well for him, notwithstanding those shortcomings he has as an individual, which is common. Because again, you find out that it is his character. All this while he was a president, it was the same attitude. He left office as a president, he has remained, it's the same attitude. It has not changed.
All right.
That is to show that it is the true picture of the man, it is the character of the man, and you'll be able to follow it, as it were, to the benefit of the people at the end of the day.
Right, now there'll be a showdown between Nikki Haley and, of course, Donald Trump. If it to be a prophet right now, I want to prophesy. How do you think this will pan out? Not even know that Ron Desantis have already throwing the towel for Donald Trump.
I hope and pray that one day you go to the States and interview these people yourself in America. Because many a times you talked about the image that they launder of Donald Trump. These are things you tap from the very 1% owners of this media house in America, which is what Kanye West has also complained about.
Yeah.
You know, but I hope you don't go to Haiti or the voodoo state to bring about religious interpretation of the American political system to the kingdom of Benin, where we have the great Oba. Well, you just asked a question. I want you to.
How will it play out today? Because they're going for a primary between Donald Trump and, of course, Nikki. How will it play out?
What you got to understand from simple mathematics or calculation in political system is you have a number one and a number two. And number two collapses structure to join number one. Your guess is as good as mine.
Exactly.
So it's like in a one-way ticket.
so even if when they go into those stuff or debates or whatever, it means more arsenal within the Donald Trump's enclave. Just like Barrister rightly said, Donald Trump has a clownish attitude in some ways. There are certain things he says that is not befitting of a president. But when you look at a scale of 1 to 10, his errors, I can tell it's 2 to 8. Because they believe strongly that the economic boom that Joe Biden's government is enjoying today was laid by Donald Trump.
Exactly.
And that is actually what it is. When it is not the day, it might add, they said it's not the day you get certain things, that is not the day you apply it.
Yeah.
So all the damage that was done to this economy before now, we are feeling it now. And all the good things or whatever effort that has been put into this Nigerian economy now, we only come into play in another year or year and a half. By the grace of God. So this is how life works. So I'm very certain that Donald Trump is at his level and within the Republican state for them to throw their trust back into him. I'm very certain that he will be having an upper hand over that lady. And I'm sure as a woman, there are certain sex appeal that certain characters or people who are caring for office carry, like Tony Blair of England at the time, and George W. Bush, Obama. President Barack Obama carried a certain image. And I don't see that chemistry in the woman.
Just like chemistry in the mouth. So,
not yet.
from what you say right now, agreeing to that, Donald Trump will just end up becoming the candidate of the Republican Party
I'm very certain,
this time around.
I'm very certain I'm not going from the equation and the math politically from how I've seen it. I'm sure Donald Trump has an upper hand and I'm certain to be the candidate.
As you can see, our time is up. I'm getting a strong signal to call it a wrap on this show. 30 seconds each. What advice you have for Republicans and, of course, American? Norris, start quickly. 30 seconds start now.
My advice to Republicans is they should stick to the man who has the capacity, stick to the man who has the courage, the man who has the wherewithal, the man who has the popularity, and the man who the Americans see as a true American, who will always be there for his people.
All right. Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
Donald Trump. He has always been my candidate.
All right, what about you?
My friends that lives in America, especially some that live in Atlanta, Georgia, they don't like Donald Trump. But for me, I wouldn't say I like him, I wouldn't say I hate him, but I do strongly believe that the American states would see Donald Trump as an open book. A man that will come and tell you he doesn't like black people, he will say it. Can you compare that man to a man that tells you he likes you, but at the same time is eliminating you quietly? So I think the conservatives are supposed to be left-wing, the Republicans are supposed to be right-wing, the KKK sort of people. But then again, what we're seeing today, the endless wars and the killings and the spending of American taxpayers' money, I'm very certain that Biden will struggle to retain that presidency. Thank
you so much, gentlemen. There'll be a showdown today between Nikki and, of course, Donald Trump. But from mathematical inclination, you're going to realize that 1 + 1 is bigger than just one standing alone. Yes, it might just be a walkover for Donald Trump. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Let's see how all this will pan out. If litigation don't cut short the dream of Donald Trump, maybe, just maybe, he might just become the next president if the popularity of Joe Biden keeps on dwindling. We'll do it again next week, Tuesday. Yeah?
Why don't you speak to your colleague, Will Smith? We'll
talk about that later. Will Smith issue will come out later, okay? Not now. See you next week, Tuesday, God willing. Bye for now.